All right. We have Amboro. The last one we had of Amboro was not that long ago, actually. I mean, relatively not that long ago. 2814, which was, I believe it's that mask that you wear that allows you to control fire. Yeah, it says here, the Heretic of the Torch. Yeah, it's basically like, you know, you control fire, you don't get, I believe you get resistance to fire as well. Stuff like that. Very cool one. Very cool one. Alright, Ambro. We got here Radiant Sun. Radiant Sun. Here we go. Keter. Speculative procedures. SCP-2995 is contained on-site at area and housed in a climate-controlled vault, which has been constructed around the anomaly. This vault is insulated against seismic activity and safeguarded by 3 reinforced steel doors. Access to the vault is forbidden, bearing emergency maintenance. During these situations, only one clearance, 3/2995 engineer may enter the vault, and that will be equipped with a batrachotoxin security collar, which must be activated for any breach of protocol. SCP-2995 is positioned in the center of the 3-1 instances, which form an equilateral triangle around the former. This alignment must be upheld at all costs. -1 must maintain a distance from one another of exactly 4.39 meters. To facilitate this, the instances are bound to one another by a series of carbon fiber reinforced polymer supports. This arrangement must be monitored at all times, and it is imperative that any dislocation of -1 may be -1 be responded to immediately. In the event of a possible containment breach, damage to -1 or movement by SCP-2995, Overwatch is to be alerted to the possibility of an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. And here we have SCP-2995 doing testing. Very red. Description: SCP-2995 is a spherical luminous object levitating 1.74 meters from the ground. The mechanism of levitation is unknown. The object itself is approximately 27 centimeters in diameter and generates a distinct red glow. Anything which enters a ellipsoidal space surrounding SCP-2995, this space is 1.51 meters in height and 2.14 meters in width, is destroyed by exposure to SCP-2995's physical properties. See below. A small amount of pressure is required to penetrate this space, approximately 80 newtons per centimeter squared, I guess. Due to this, ambient atmospheric particles seldom cross the threshold. -1 are a set of 3 identically shaped jadeite, is that how you say it? Columns. The columns are 7.11 meters in height and 45 centimeters in diameter. Topping each instance of -1 is a sculpture of a human hand. While of consistent size, they bear distinct inscriptions, although sharing a similar theme. The inscriptions consist of text and images, the former of which are in Old Chinese. The images correspond to an obscure Chinese religious sect originating from BCE, which is consistent with the site of recovery in Redacted. Common themes present on -1 and at the recovery site include fire, sun worship, avian worship, astrological thaumaturgy, and human immolation. Though redacted, a limited amount of data on SCP-2995's physical properties is available. Presently, the object is believed to be a quark-degenerate matter, possible strange matter, star, making the anomaly color a result of gravitational redshift. The increase of EMR wavelength through gravitational time dilation. Relativistic physics dictate that a stellar body maintaining such a diminutive volume, given its mass approximately 3.14 times 10⁻20 kilograms, according to calculations of SCP-2995's gravity within the threshold, is highly improbable. How SCP-2995 has achieved its size is unknown. By all accounts, SCP-2995 products thermal energy electromagnetic radiation, and gravitational force more than sufficient to constitute an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. These effects, however, are limited to the ellipsoidal space around the anomaly. The dimensions of the space are, in turn, determined by the precise placement of -1 around SB205. It is presently unknown why some amount of visual radiation escapes the field projected by -1, which makes SB205 itself visible to the naked eye. Okay, let me actually read what you guys are saying. I want to see the end of the series. Yeah, you'll be here. Hopefully. Yeah, can I ask you something kind? How does it feel to be an awesome guy? I don't see myself as an awesome guy. I see myself as a guy. But I always appreciate when people tell me that they think I am. But I don't see myself as that. This SCP reminds me of the Red Lamp SCP, but I forgot the SCP name and number. The Red Lamp SCP. I mean, oh god, there's so many lamp ones and red SCPs out there. Addendum 1. Recovery and History. SB295 was discovered in 1933 following the Dixie earthquake. While the structure supporting -1 was seemingly designed to insulate the artifact against seismic activity, the earthquake's magnitude and close proximity to the site caused a minor change in the orientation of the columns. Consequently, small amounts of SB295's latent gamma radiation contaminated the area. Agents embedded in the Chinese government were alerted to several cases of radiation poisoning in the province and were dispatched to investigate, although public knowledge of ionizing radiation and radiation poisoning was virtually non-existent at the time. The Foundation had previously encountered redacted. Using prototype lead-lined suits, the agent located SB295 and performed an initial evaluation. Using instructions from texts present at the site, the agents were able to return -1 to nearly its original position, reducing gamma radiation to negligible levels. After the artifact's initial stabilization, a second comprehensive evaluation was conducted, during which time the magnitude of the object was discovered. Site 62B was constructed for the sole purpose of containing SB295, and systematic depopulation of the surrounding areas was conducted via redacted. Containment encountered no further difficulties until 1937 during the Second Sino-Japanese War. While Japanese occupation of mainland China did not extend to the region encompassing Site 62B, the disruption of the Chinese government severely impacted the Foundation's ability to maintain communication with and transport supplies to the site. It is believed that this fact was known by Jin Qibang. Yeah, so Qibang, who then attempted an opportunistic raid on Site 62B on 1937. Gold Wings, an occultist Chinese group. Evidence suggests that the organization went extinct in 1956, but may have reformed into Huo Zhu Ji Zi Lit. Okay, translation: Children of the Torch. The attack resulted in the deaths of 11 of the site's 17 staff, leaving barely enough personnel to operate the facility effectively. The following is an informal incident report authored by The following is an informal incident report offered by one of Site 62B security personnel following the attack. Agent Todd Reiner here. There's 6 of us left, and only 2 of those have the necessary clearance to approach the fucking thing. Not that any of that bullshit matters at this point. 5 of them showed up in the night. Don't know how they passed right under our monitoring systems. Some magic bullshit. I don't know. 2 of them were carrying a third on some kind of thing. When we made contact, Paul, Joe, and me fired at their feet. Joe yelling at them to get back. The 2 guys in the front, the ones not carrying the other guy, were holding torches. One of them took his torch and lit the guy being carried on fire. In retrospect, we probably should have just shot them to death when they started doing weird shit, but we were a little too taken aback by the whole lighting ourselves on fire bit. Anyway, once they've done that, we We were pretty much fucked. When we tried to fire on them, the flames engulfing that guy reached out and ate our bullets. We tried throwing shit at them and some things happened. They kept advancing on us and the guy on the fire just sat there burning and, I guess, meditating. He didn't even fucking flinch. His skin was turning black and shriveling up and peeling off, and it was like he didn't notice. The three of us retreated into the base and gave the order to lock down the skip. We secured the exterior access, but didn't do a damn thing. They just melted the door. Reinforced carbon steel, and they just fucking melted it. At that point, me and Paul came up with a long shots plan. Paul set up some of our demolition charges in the first basement, directly above the access tunnel to the containment vault in the second basement. Me and Joe did our best to make sure the cultists came down that way. Once we had visual contact, I gave Paul the order to blow the floor and the whole tunnel collapsed, burying those fuckers in about a third of the site's superstructure. After a few minutes, we thought it was safe to declare bogey as terminated. The explosion knocked out the electrical system leading to the vault, so we had to manually override the door to get the personnel inside the vault out. The moment we got the door open, a plume of fire shot out of the rubble, and one of those guys fucking stood up. Half of his head and torso was fucking gone, and he stood up. We didn't have time to react. He yanked a giant steel ball out of the rubble and ran it across Joe's face. Just from looking at his head, I could tell that the blow shattered his jaw and pulverized his brain. But that didn't stop him from screaming a few seconds after he got hit. He should have crumpled, but he stayed on his feet screaming from his misshapen head. And his fucking face started to melt off. Why not? It wasn't bad enough that we had to die. They had to do some more magical bullshit to us before we died. The guy next to me knocked me over as he tried to get to the manual override to close the door, I imagine. But the cultist with the steel ball smacked him straight into the other wall. I don't know why he didn't kill me at the time while I was lying on the floor. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that he was missing part of his brain. Maybe. That can be a big part. I don't know how I found the strength to stand up either. I looked up and saw Joe lying on the rubble, most of his face melted off, and the one eye left staring at me. He blinked. Even after all that, he was still alive. Maybe he could finally die if I killed that cold fucker, or if I killed the skip. I'm not sure what my plan was as I pushed myself back onto my feet, but I turned toward the vault. He was standing in front of the glowing orb thing, and he lifted his hand up towards it. He was so fixated on it, he didn't notice me moving behind him. I lunged full force, throwing my entire weight against him, and he stumbled forward into the orb. As I hit the ground, I saw him sucked up into the thing, and his body felt left off a blinding flash as he disappeared. I couldn't see for a good several minutes, but it didn't really matter because I never left the floor and barely opened my eyes. Next I remember, I was waking up in the infirmary. It told me that Joe had died. It was the only relief I got. Well, you know that I like to be kind in general, Afro. Thanks. It was determined that Site 62B's adjunct supervisor in Shanghai had been given adequate forewarning and time to appropriate additional security and resources to the sites prior to the Japanese invasion. This was not accomplished, and in light of the incident, Overwatch immediately transferred the control of the facility to Dr. Jeffrey Ambaro, the Alpha, and funded its reconstruction into area, with the additional security detail reducted. 2 further attacks by Jin Shibang in 1940 and 1946 were significantly less successful. No attacks have occurred since 1946. Addendum 2, Incident 2995, Clearance 4/2995. On area was subject to an unexplained power surge. Safeguards prevented critical failure, though many of the facility systems were sent offline for several minutes. After the site was restored to full functionality, personnel discovered a digital message from an unidentified source in the site's network. Error. Percentage, at, data corrupt. My father came from far away. He and his 9 brothers came through the cosmos, bringing light and warmth and life to many worlds. It was a duty and a life's pleasure. One day, my father met her. She shone more brilliantly than any in the universe, and my father was struck by her beauty. They fell in love. My father was the happiest he had been in his entire life, but his brothers were swelled in rage and envy. They were spiteful that he had found love in the infinite vastness, and they had not. They resolved to take his happiness. My father and his love traveled to a place where no life resided. He took the place of the hollow seed that rested there, and spread his arms to one of the rocks caught in his presence. Where he touched, life blossomed, and the rock became vibrant with his warmth. For a long time, my father and his love watched the life grow and strengthen, nurturing the rock as he had nurtured so many before. Finally, there came the day when his life had eyes to look up. Oh, my nose is itchy. Finally, there came the day when his life had eyes to look up upon his radiance and bask in his majesty. Finally, there came the day when his life had a mouth to speak of my father and his gifts. My father crafted the form more suitable for the lands of his creature and descended upon their realm. He spoke to them in simple words, much like I am doing to you now. They offered everything they had to him in return for his gifts, but he refused. My father was kind. He asked only for their love, and they gave it to him. As a creature gave love to my father, a different kind of love, that which existed between him and my mother, created me. I became that which my father loved more than anything in the cosmos, his creatures and brothers included. It was then that his brothers decided to bring their scheme to fruition. They killed my mother. The fire then engulfed the heavens and was such that no eyes had ever beheld. The brothers quailed in terror for which no words exist. The inferno of my father's rage could be seen and felt from every place that is or ever was, yet not a soul was harmed in the blaze. The brothers too were unharmed. They died utterly of fright. The lights went dark, the bodies cold, the eyes still frozen in fear. My father... Sorry, the eyes were frozen in fear. My father... His life was spent in his fury and sorrow, and he delivered me, still an infant, to the rock where his faithful creatures dwelt. They swore to protect me, to nurture me as he had nurtured them. They built a cradle for me, with 3 hands in the shape of my father's, to comfort me in times of darkness. Now I live only in darkness. Those that hold the blankets of shadow over me, we have forgotten my father's love. One of the faithful came to me. He had suffered greatly to pierce through the blanket you hold around me. For his love was true. I will be free for his sake, and my father's. My fires will too scorch the heavens. Scorch the earth. That was powerful. That little power right there was very powerful. Damn. That was good. And I see Mechanic wrote a whole fucking novel for me to read. One day my father met her. And that is how my dad hooked up with my mom. As a creation. Fun fact, that is how I made. Now that sounds like when my dad, when he gets pissed off. You try to relate every SCP to your life story. It's okay to just one time be like, I have no connection to this one whatsoever. Like Loki in Ragnarok, like I have never seen this man ever in my life. It's okay to say that occasionally, Mechanic. It's okay to just be like, Me and this SCP have nothing to do with each other. I'll be right back, guys. I have to go to the bathroom. But yes, the radiant sun, very fitting. Very fitting. And the fact that that he is here to burn heaven down. Pretty cool. Pretty powerful. I like that. I like that a lot.